Welcome. Read A Course in Miracles along with us in our home style text class. For information about our live workbook classes, email us and check out our website for more course support, including retreats at the Little Garden in Sedona. So today we're going to do something a little different. We're going to back up and start at chapter 10, section 3, the God of Sickness, and do that one all the way through. We only got part way through last time. And it just seems like it's better in the flow of how it's going to work out that we have a whole section here. So we usually get more out of reading something again and again.
I'm still getting
I know.
stuff out of reading it. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah. You could read one sentence and work with it for weeks.
I know.
Yeah.
Some people do. Okay. Well, Dale, we're so glad to see you back. Can we call on you to read the first paragraph?
It's page 184.
Yes.
Okay. The God of sickness. You have not attacked God, and you do love him. Can you change your reality? You have not attacked God, and you do. No one can will to destroy himself. When you think you are attacking yourself, it is a sure sign that you hate what you think you are. And only this can be attacked by you. Boy, I think I understand it. Verbalizing it is a little difficult for me, but basically, I think it comes back to the same thing for me. When I find myself away from peace, even though I don't totally understand what's going on, wake up, man. You've separated from who you are.
Right.
And I'm attacking myself, even though I can't go through the analysis of what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. I become aware that I am doing it.
Right.
And again, the solution is me just to get quiet, get peace, and what we've talked about many times, forgive myself for my belief in separation.
Right. Yeah.
What you think you are can be very hateful. And what this strange image makes you do can be very destructive. Man, that is true. Yet the destruction is no more real than the image, although those who make idols do worship them. The idols are nothing, but their worshipers are the sons of God in sickness. I've been thinking a lot about idols, particularly in my life, the last month, about how I lived my life, the first part of my life, and the things that were important to me. And at this point in my life, I kind of look back in amazement that because it was complete separation of what we're talking about. It really had no meaning. It was really completely ego-based and wanting people to believe I was something. And I'm not embarrassed about it. I'm just kind of look back and go, what was I, because there was something inside that knew that that wasn't right, but I couldn't identify it. It's taken all this time to get to where I could actually identify what that was. And over 40 years, one way or another. So I guess that's quick. I don't know.
You're doing it in this lifetime.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, that's what Joseph Campbell said. Your midlife crisis is you've reached the top of the ladder, but it's up against the wrong wall.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's a good way to say it. Yeah. God would have them released from their sickness and return to his mind. He will not limit your power to help them because he has given it to you. Do not be afraid of it because it is your salvation. And that one of the things I think about as I read that is how I've come to understand how close and available Holy Spirit is. And I've tried to make it difficult to access that over my life. And I don't know why. That's another thing. I don't know why I did that. But I'm not going to sweat over it or try and overanalyze it. Just accept that's the way it is and just realize all I have to do is just ask. It's really just that simple. And, my whole perspective changes when I do that. So I'm trying to get away from, because I've spent 40 years trying to analyze why I'm doing what I'm doing, and really didn't get many answers, So this course, the last 2 years, particularly, actually almost 3 now, when we started with Michael Murdad, it really changed my perspective on that.
Hmm. Great to hear that.
But, and that's what we're always saying is there is no reason for insanity,
Yeah, no, that's right.
right? So you can't really get a reason for those maladaptive strategies because they're crazy.
The rest of you might have some comments about this paragraph as well. There's a lot in it.
I don't think, did you finish?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay.
Mhm.
Anybody else got something on that paragraph?
Well, I'll just throw in some things while you're thinking. It says it's a sure sign that you hate what you think you are. And then it goes on to talk about idols. And that is the idol it's talking about, what we think we are.
Yeah.
And that is sick.
See, that's the counterintuitive thing, because normally idols are just what Dale was talking about, and those are idols, like the things, my accomplishments.
Mhm,
And here it's saying sickness
mhm.
is an idol,
And
because it means you've separated from God or attacked God.
oh, okay. So I have a story to tell you.
Okay.
This morning, I realized that the last week or so, I don't feel bad when I first get up, but shortly after I get up, I start to feel like queasy and sickness. So we're going to be talking about sickness in here. So I feel sick, and I realized, because I've been reading this, that what I've done is put something in front of my awareness of God, my ability to connect with other people, even with my own spirit. Because when you're feeling crappy, you just think about that. That's the screen you're looking at. So I had a really good
So that's
example.
self-attack.
It's self-attack.
Right.
Yes, it is. And of course, I look for something on the physical
Right.
that caused it. Well, this is my theory, that I have been using coffee to make myself sick. I think I've developed a not so good feeling about coffee. Okay, but that's the way the world thinks about things.
Yeah.
It's caused by a thing out there. And what this is telling us is the cause is a desire to not be in union with God.
See, this is where oneness comes in. Like he's saying, you have not attacked God and you do love him. The idea of attack is that you need an attacker and that which is attacked.
Yeah.
And that breaks the oneness. Because if you're one with God or one with your true self, you can attack that. That's why he's saying you can't attack who you really are, because you're one with yourself.
Yeah.
But you can attack the ego, because the ego is different every day.
But the ego attacks us.
Well, right.
Both.
But I mean, the ego images of ourselves change 10 times an hour at the most stable, he said.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the idea of oneness really comes, that's why we can't attack God, because we're one with God.
Right. Another thing that stood out for me in this one is the last 2 sentences. God will not limit your power to help your brothers in sickness, because God has given our power to us. Don't be afraid of your power to help others. And a lot of what we're going to read has to do with that.
Right. So the question we asked at that last sentence was, why would we be afraid of this power that God gave us in terms of wanting to be idols? Why would we be afraid of this power? And the answer is because we still want the idol.
Yeah, right.
God's giving us the power to be our true self by helping others as one thing.
Yeah. So another way of looking at the idol is it's the ego's story of who you are.
Right.
Yeah. So anyone else? Anything else?
I might add on the power, why I was afraid of it was I thought there were strings attached to it.
Oh,
You know, I had to act a certain way. I had to be something I didn't want to be. But none of that's true.
right. Yeah. Sacrifice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before we go on, Dale, would you mind, can you just share with others what you shared with us about Leanne and what's going on?
Because we miss her.
Yeah. She had to change jobs about 2 or 3 months ago, and her schedule has changed. She does a lot of work with clients outside of, and some of them that can only meet on the weekends. So she's going to be hit and miss when she can be here. So,
Great, thanks.
Give her our love.
Yeah,
I will.
Okay. Okay. Connie, could you read paragraph 2,
well,
please?
wait, did anybody else have something to say about this, or should we go on?
Yeah, I think what was I going to say? This strange image makes you, what this strange image makes you do can be very destructive. So this image that we have of ourselves can be very destructive. And then it's saying the destruction is no more real than the image. So the destruction isn't real, but then it talks about those who make idols do worship them. The idols are nothing, but the worshippers are the sons of God in sickness. So it seems to be saying that because you've got this image of yourself as a separate human being, you are going to be, there's going to be destruction, that you are going to be self-destructive in a way. But if you're worshipping that image, that is a problem, because worshipping idols is going to make you sick. But if you're not worshipping it, then you're still going to get this destructive self image going on, because obviously we're still believing we're a separate thing. But it's the not worshipping it bit that seems important there. I don't know if I'm articulating that really, but that seems important to me, that okay, because I still believe I'm a body, then I'm going to have these things coming up. They're going to be destructive to me and possibly to others even. But as long as I'm recognizing that they are destructive and I'm not feeding that, I'm seeing that it's a problem, and it's not something I'm choosing. It's just by the nature of me thinking I'm human that it's happening. So I don't know if that makes any sense.
No, that absolutely does make sense, because our power of our mind is the big power is what we value, because what we value will be real to us. And the ego's got to feel guilty. I mean, that's the ultimate destructiveness of this image. It feels guilty and fearful, and it's putting it on all kinds of, like, I'm guilty because I wasn't a good dad, or I'm guilty because I didn't climb a tree, or whatever. I mean, thinking of ourselves in fearful, shameful ways is very destructive to our peace of mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the generic meaning of sickness. You know, not having peace of mind. You could use it, you know, my body hurts, or I'm worried about my finances, or I'm sad about something, you know, anything that's separation is sickness.
Yeah.
But I think it's really helpful when we're reading this to identify something in your own life that is sick. You know, if it's not totally peaceful, then it's a sick thought, and it comes from the image of oneself that is the ego story.
Right, like thinking of myself as I'm lazy, I'm a procrastinator.
Yeah, any label.
Negative sort of
Yep.
label to put ourselves down.
Mhm.
But that's the good news. We're just attacking our idea of who we are.
Right,
We can attack who we are. I mean, that's
Right.
the whole point of the course.
right. Okay. So Connie, could you read 2, please? And give us your thoughts?
What comforter can there be for the sick children of God except his power through you? Remember that it does not matter where in the sonship he is accepted. He is always accepted for all. And when your mind receives him, the remembrance of him awakens through the sonship. Heal your brothers simply by accepting God for them. That reminds me of today's lesson.
Yep.
Your minds are not separate, and God has only one channel for healing because he has but one son. God's remaining communication link with all his children joins them together and then to him. To be aware of this is to heal them, because it is the awareness that no one is separate, so no one is sick. Well, for me, the message here is that we're all one and we've never been separate. And with today's lesson, when I was doing the lesson earlier, I was reminded of how when I was a child, I really felt one with God. And somehow, maybe it's like Dale said, you know, in those years of achieving, etc., looking at different things as to what's important, I've kind of like lost my focus. And I feel like now I'm back to where I was when I was a child. It's kind of crazy.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Give us your thoughts. I think number 4 is, sentence 4 is probably the most important to me. Heal your brothers simply by accepting God for them. Recognize that what they think of as their self, their body, their social position, all of that is not who they are. They're one with us. There's one of them, one of us. There's one son. All that separation is the idols.
Yeah, because that's what he said. The reason you can heal them is because you're not separate from them.
Right.
You are one with them.
Yeah.
I like Connie's idea about recapturing the idea of a child, because that's, he's always saying, come as a
Mhm.
little child.
I know.
A little child says, I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. And he turns to someone who loves him
Right.
and says, help me. I don't know.
I don't know what anything means. Yeah.
Yeah, one other thing, Jan, on that sentence you just read, I think that's really important for our practice and doing our work. And I've always, and I don't know where I got this idea either, felt it was necessary, probably from my old time religion upbringing, to heal people.
Oh, yeah.
They proselytize to them,
Uh-huh.
and that doesn't work. When we're, to me, that sentence means that when I see somebody that, where I'm talking to somebody that's hurting in some way, I recognize who they are, even though they don't.
Right.
Exactly.
I extend love to them. I don't have to proselytize to them. I say, well, you look at things this way. Your life would be different if you just believed what I believed.
Mm-hmm.
That is a recipe. I know personally, because I've had some bad moments from trying to do that. So just extend them love and recognize who they are. Shut your eyes if you need to, very quietly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it doesn't matter what I think. If you believe what we're teaching, then that heals them in some fashion that I'll never know about.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Connie, was it today or yesterday? It said exactly what he said. It's not by preaching to them. It's not by the words that you use. It's just your being itself. And
I think
anyway,
that's today's lesson.
Is today's lesson?
I believe so. Yeah, it's, I can't remember the exact words, but
Yeah, 37.
yeah, just what he said.
yeah,
This is what you said. Yeah. My holiness blesses the world. Yeah.
right,
My
right.
holiness blesses you, fill in the blank. Yeah, that's it. Well, let's go on to number 3. Kathy, could you read for us?
Sure. To believe that a son of God can be sick is to believe that part of God can suffer. Wow. Love cannot suffer because it cannot attack. The remembrance of love, therefore, brings invulnerability with it. Do not side with sickness in the presence of a son of God, even if he does believe in it, for your acceptance of God in him acknowledges the love of God he has forgotten. That's what you guys were just talking about.
Mhm.
Your recognition of him as part of God reminds him of the truth about himself, which he is denying. Would you strengthen his denial of God and thus lose sight of yourself? Or would you remind him of his holiness and remember your creator with him? So the lesson says today, you're blessing everyone with your holiness. And this is the way to give up sacrifice,
Yeah.
it says in the lesson. And to believe that a son of God can be sick is to believe that part of God can suffer. And for some reason, those two are tied together in my mind. But basically what it is whenever, let's see, when you're attacking yourself, you're attacking the part of yourself that you hate. An idol, and you make that an idol of sickness. And it's all about, I think, using hate and discomfort as a flagpost of really like stepping back, and it's going to get my attention a lot faster than a lot of other things. But what the important thing is not to worship hate in yourself or anybody else. And hate can come in the formula that is always saying about the mild irritation,
Mhm.
or intense rage. So it's all that stuff that comes up that really and truly you're hating.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, right on.
You know what really jumped out for me this time is that first sentence. To believe that a son of God can be sick is to believe that part of God can suffer. It's like it's really asking us to recognize illusions for illusions and truth is truth, and stop trying to mix them up.
It's interesting.
and also how closely we're related to God. We're son of God.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Even thinking that a son of God can be sick is to think that God suffer. We don't think that, but
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
we're close. God knows.
See that we talked about that the other day. It can seem to make sense to us that we're suffering and that we're limited, but to think of God in that way is
Mhm.
just the opposite of how we really think about God. Like
Yeah.
he's perfect, he's omnipotent, he's all love.
So that works for God, but then when I'm sick, I'm a separate thing
yeah, right,
because I'm not omnipotent and all loving.
right. But
right.
because you're one with God, what you say of yourself, you're saying of God. I mean,
I guess that's true.
that's what
Yeah.
that first sentence is saying.
All right.
I think sentence 3 is really key. It gets back to the whole basic core of the course, love.
So
Yeah.
can you read it and talk about it a little bit?
Well, the remembrance of love therefore brings invulnerability with it.
Yeah.
So if I'm in love, then I'm not going to be in thoughts of whatever, something's wrong, or the other person isn't right, or, whatever, or I'm this, or I'm that. And that includes love of oneself.
Right.
It's love one with God, just being
Right.
in love, the love, the
Right.
big love.
All right. Let the ice cube melt in the ocean.
Yeah.
And love cannot suffer, that's 2, because it cannot attack.
He's really asking us to reconsider who we think we are and other
Mhm.
people are.
And the value of attack.
That's why he's always saying love means appreciation.
Mhm.
Because from the ego standpoint of crucifixion, love means I'm going to put up with how pathetic you are,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
But love is appreciation.
Yeah.
You find something to love in them.
Right.
It's like my friend used to say, her ex-husband she just focused on, she didn't really like him, but she just focused on the fact that he regularly took out the garbage.
If that gave her a connection
It
with
did.
true love, then great.
Yeah.
Not quite like sentence 5 though, that is it. Your recognition of him as part of God reminds him of the truth about himself, which he is denying.
Isn't that
So
great?
whatever his benefits on a relationship or physical level are, pales into insignificance, doesn't it? Your
Yes.
recognition of him as part of
As
God.
part of God, yes, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So no-
just the idea that if we do that, that it's actually reminding someone that they are that,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
which is difficult to believe, isn't it, in many ways? But yeah, but it's
Yeah,
saying it's
because
true. So
there's sense data that shows us the opposite
yeah,
all the
Yeah.
time. But
Yeah.
the sense data is part of the problem,
exactly.
you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
So yeah, it's like,
So ignore the feedback and just carry on doing what it says.
yeah.
There you go.
Choice.
Notice how the word reminding is like, means remembering, but think about it as reminding.
Yeah, going
They're
back to your mind.
making making a difference in their mind. You're reminding them.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay, let's see now. That would be Eric's turn. For 4.
Yeah, to believe a son of God is sick is to worship the same idol he does. Wow. So if somebody is presenting themselves as sick, then they're worshipping the idol of believing that they're a separate body.
Mhm,
And if I'm going along with it, then I'm worshipping the same idol.
mhm.
God created love, not idolatry. All forms of idolatry are caricatures of creation, taught by sick minds too divided to know that creation shares power and never usurps it. Sickness is idolatry because it is the belief that power can be taken from you. Yet this is impossible because you are part of God, who is all power. A sick God must be an idol, made in the image of what its maker thinks he is. And that is exactly what the ego does perceive in a son of God. A sick God, self-created, self-sufficient, very vicious and very vulnerable. Is this the idol you would worship? Is this the image you would be vigilant to save? Are you really afraid of losing this? I remember reading this section last week, actually.
Yes.
That,
Oh, you
that
did?
long list of sick God, self-created, self-sufficient, very vicious, lots of horrible sort of negative images of yourself.
Mhm.
And that's the way the ego perceives both yourself and everyone else if you let it have its free reign on your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the vigilance, is this the image you would be vigilant to save?
Mhm.
So it's almost a reversal of what the Course is telling you, to be vigilant for God,
Right.
being vigilant to save this image.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if we,
Are you really afraid of losing this? Yeah, in a sense, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard lots of people say that kind of thing. Like, if I give up this whole belief that I built my life around, what's left of me?
I'll be chaos.
It'll be chaos, or the sense I get from a lot of people is a sense of emptiness or vacuum, like not knowing what's going on, and it's frightening.
It's like not being grounded.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Notice in here in 3:3, the paragraph 3, sentence 3, the remembrance of love brings invulnerability with it. So that's the course's idea of how we relieve others of guilt, is that however they're attacking us, that doesn't affect us. Like we are invulnerable, and that helps relieve them of guilt, the course is saying. But look down in this paragraph, from the ego standpoint, it's vulnerable to everything that happens to it.
Yeah,
It's affected by everything. I'm
Right.
vulnerable to the world. I'm vulnerable. If you say something to me, I'm all undone,
yeah,
you know.
yeah,
But if I'm standing on the truth of who I am, whether you're attacking me or loving me, I'm invulnerable.
right. Right.
It doesn't
And
affect me.
And also, you know, if the wrong chemical comes into your, or germ comes into your body, you are not the body.
Yeah.
You know, it's like letting go of the belief that we're bodies that are victims of the world that we see, because we've made up the world
Yeah.
in order that we can be victims. There's that power thing again in here.
Yeah.
It says in sentence 4, sickness is idolatry because it is the belief that power can be taken from you.
Right.
And you know, we've been reading about our power and glory for chapters now. We're not the thing that's sick. And so if we go like, oh, you poor thing, you're sick. I'm sick. If I do that, I'm agreeing to the same idol that you are.
Right.
So,
But it doesn't mean we're not empathetic to
no,
them.
it
We
doesn't
are
mean that at
empathetic,
all.
because we understand what it's like to be in misery and to feel that.
That's right. That's why he wants us to offer healing to our brothers.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see now. That would be Laura's turn. Could you read 5, please?
Look calmly at the logical conclusion of the ego's thought system and judge whether its offering is really what you want, for this is what it offers you. And that is the idol of a sick God, self-created, self-sufficient, very vicious, and very vulnerable.
Yeah.
To obtain this, you're willing to attack the divinity of your brothers and thus lose sight of yours. And you are willing to keep it hidden to protect an idol you think will save you from the dangers for which it stands, but which do not exist. I think I read this paragraph last week too, because I was asking about the it reference, which is why I noted it and made sure that I said it. Yeah, so in talking about all this power, it's ours to give away. I mean, I think we do, when we listen to the ego, we kind of give our power away.
Mhm.
So it can't be taken. We have to willingly give it, right? So.
And yet it's hidden.
It's
You
hidden.
know, yeah.
Yeah.
It appears that the world is doing it to us.
Right, right.
See, that's what's so hopeful about the course, because he's saying you're doing all this work to maintain this ego identity. You're willing yourself in this, and the course just takes a little willingness to have a change of mind.
I love that idea of question every value
Mm.
that you hold. I love that. It's a very simple idea, but it is the opening to that willingness to me.
Yep.
Okay, let's go on. That would be Dale again.
Okay, 6. There are no idolaters in the kingdom, but there is great appreciation for everything that God created because of the calm knowledge that each one is part of him. God's Son knows no idols, but he does know his Father. Health in this world is a counterpart of value in heaven. Go back to the first sentence. There are no idolaters in the kingdom, but there is great appreciation for everything that God created. Idolaters, I'm lost on that. What?
Those who are worshiping the god of sickness, or the belief that power can be taken from us, or the ego. Those are the idolaters he's talking about here.
Okay.
in this section.
Let's
So in
see.
our true self, which still is in the kingdom of heaven, we're not idolaters.
Well, it brings up a thought. I don't know if it's related or not, but are we able to give only a part? Let's say somebody's appearing in front of us that has some kind of sickness, or maybe they're in stress and we want to extend love. Can that only be done in part? I mean, if I'm not totally convicted on what I'm believing, am I able to extend that love to them?
You know, I don't know where it
Yes.
comes up. Yes, you can. It says you only have to be in your right mind for an instant.
Okay.
Yeah,
And it's the understanding that it's really the Holy Spirit that's working through you.
Okay.
That's our willingness, is opening up to let the Holy Spirit
move through you.
move through you, and he's giving it to the Holy Spirit in the other person. That's why it works.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
You know,
Uh,
there's a really nice statement in the manual for teachers that says when you've tried to be a
channel for
healer, a
healing.
channel for healing,
Right.
you have succeeded.
yeah, I think we've talked about it before, but that's a good reminder. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
It is not my merit that I contribute to you, but my love, for you do not value yourself. When you do not value yourself, you become sick, but my value of you can heal you, because the value of God's Son is one. Well, to me, not valuing myself is not being in my right mind.
Right.
You know, throughout my lifetime, I've known that intuitively, but I didn't have any way to understand what it meant until the course. And quite frankly, I didn't want to believe it for a long time because I wanted to hold on to my idols.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know, I'd spent a lifetime building them, and to give them up was not an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's, let's see here. Where was I? Let's see. When you do not value yourself, become sick. When I said, my peace I give unto you, I meant it. Peace comes from God through me to you. It is for you, although you may not ask for it. That again has been a very difficult thing for me to get my mind around. There was some sense that I had to feel some kind of a duty or obligation to be worthy. And again, that's a misperception that I've created for myself, when that is just not true.
Right.
And I think the biggest thing that's come out of this time we've spent on the study is that I really don't have to do those things. All I have to do is, it's already there.
Yeah.
Why am I struggling so hard?
Yeah.
It's just be. And that sounds so simple, but I think it's true.
Yeah.
You know, that's come up a lot in our other discussions, that when we're coming from roles that we think we should play
Mhm.
and under obligations, we forget what we really want. You know, then we're just playing out this role and playing out this obligation.
Which is another sickness.
Yeah,
I can say that from personal experience.
no, it is. But if we really look at what we really want,
Yeah, we
is-
want happiness, peace, joy.
right? And we
Yeah.
do want to love others,
Yes.
and we do love God
And ourselves.
and ourselves. Yeah, we just forget that when we're coming under obligations.
Mhm. So it sounds like from this last sentence that we have to ask for it to receive that peace. Let's continue on with Connie. I think there's some more asking in this next paragraph, 7.
When a brother is sick, it is because he is not asking for peace and therefore does not know he has it. The acceptance of peace is the denial of illusion, and sickness is an illusion. That's so true. Was it this week? I think the lesson was, I would see but peace instead.
I would say,
And
yeah.
Yeah, I could see
and
peace. Yeah,
And in doing that lesson, and I've been doing it all week, I really find it's amazing. It's, you know, the thought that comes up is the sickness for me. And when I say I would see peace instead, it's right there.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's been really an eye opener for me.
Ask and you shall receive, huh?
Right, right. Yet every son of God has the power to deny illusions anywhere in the kingdom, merely by denying them completely in himself. Again, that's the whole thing of what I do is the whole kingdom.
Mhm.
We're all one. I can heal you because I know you. I know your value for you, and it is this value that makes you whole. A whole mind is not idolatrous and does not know of conflicting laws. I will heal you merely because I have only one message, and it is true. Your faith in it will make you whole when you have faith in me. Follow me and not the ego.
Yeah,
Yep.
yes.
So look at this connection between conflicting laws, peace, and sickness. So the conflicting laws is there's an ego set of laws, or there's the Holy Spirit sense of who we are. There's
Mhm.
God's thought system or the egos, and they seem to be in conflict
From the ego's point of
from the
view.
ego standpoint.
Mhm.
But the idea of that sickness
That is
to
sickness.
think I'm in conflict with God, who's all powerful. But peace means I've healed that conflict.
Yeah, I'm not listening to the ego.
Yeah.
I'm not believing what it's telling me.
Right. So he's saying, I have one message and it's true.
Yeah,
He's not conflicted. He's not coming from the ego. He's coming from the divinity of who we are.
right.
And that ends the conflict.
So it's really, it's like Dale called it the old time religion. It's like your faith in our faith in Jesus will help us if we want to use this help.
Yeah.
He says, I will heal you merely because I have only one message and it's true. And the message is who we are. Your faith in it will make you whole when you have faith in me. It took me many years to get friendly with Jesus. And the Course says you can benefit from this teaching without having a relationship with him. But when you do, knowing that Jesus is a manifestation of the Holy Spirit is your true self.
Yeah.
Holy Spirit, it is the expression of God.
Right.
If you just say, oh, maybe you're right, Jesus, maybe I'm wrong. My way of thinking is making me sick.
That's right.
Maybe you got something that I don't have. Help me.
That's why in 6, he says, Holy Spirit's the guide. I'm the model. Jesus says, I'm the model, but you have to be the one to choose.
Ask.
Ask, right.
Yep.
So I just want to read this from the manual because it directly relates to this. This is, does Jesus have a special place in healing? And it says, Jesus has led the way. Would you not be grateful to him? He's asked for love, but only that he might give it to you. You do not love yourself, but in his eyes, your loveliness is so complete and flawless that he sees in it an image of his Father.
Mm,
So he recognizes we don't love ourselves.
yeah.
And his love for us will allow us to love ourselves again. And we can do that for others.
Yeah.
Our love for them, our invulnerability can help heal them.
Right. Yep.
This reminds me of, again, I say this all the time, Ken Wapnick. I can see him standing up there at the board. He's saying, if you just get love, if you just get that, that's at the core of all the conversation.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't need to read anything, he said. You don't need to read this book. If you just get it.
I'm glad I've got this book.
Yeah, right.
It would take me a long time to do it by myself.
But but in a way that's a really important thing to say, because once we do get a concept and we really do get it and we
Mhm.
use it,
Yeah,
then we go beyond just understanding the concept and it starts working in our life.
right.
Yeah,
I
if
think it-
love showed up everywhere, I mean, it's the ego's always there, so it's really, I say it's never gonna happen, but you know, if love really showed up everywhere, then you know, what more would there, what more would we need? We would have it all,
Yes.
which we have it, we just don't get it.
No, we're putting other things in its place.
Yeah,
I'll be happy or I'll have love when this thing happens.
idols.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
Kathy, could you read 8, please?
Sure. I do not bring God's message with deception. And you will learn this as you learn that you always receive as much as you accept. So my acceptance has to be in the on position. You could accept peace now for everyone and offer them perfect freedom from all illusions because you heard his voice. But have no other gods before him, or you will not hear. God is not jealous of the gods you make, but you are. You would save them and serve them because you believe that they made you. You think they are your father because you are projecting onto them the fearful fact you have made them to replace God. Yet when they seem to speak to you, remember that nothing can replace God, and whatever replacements you have attempted are nothing. That first line, it says, you will learn this as you learn that you always receive as much as you accept. It's just gently saying that it's all on us, you know, one more time, maybe you'll get it this time, but it's all on us.
And the good part of that is I can free myself at any time.
Anytime, yeah.
You know, this week I've been trying to, instead of the word achievement, I use the word acceptance. Like I have to achieve this, I've got to get this done, I've got to get the art, you know, I got to achieve this and then it's going to be okay. It's like, no, just accept this love and this forgiveness that's there. That's so much easier than struggling and striving.
Yeah, and then those things that seem to be on your list that need to be done, either they drop off your list or they get done easily.
Yeah, I'm not doing them from obligation or
Right.
roles or identities anymore.
Or fear.
I'm doing it out of love.
Right. Yeah.
No sacrifice.
No sacrifice.
Yeah.
God does not ask for sacrifice.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I was
how
thinking
much-
about that, trying to have a day without sacrifice. And it's like, I am mentally not capable of that. It lasted for about, an hour or so, but as soon as I try to engage with anything, it was about me picking up the pieces for that, or how you do. It's just this whole role that you've assigned yourself is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the whole ego story. You're separate, but you're not enough. So you got to work hard, strive hard. Timothy sometimes references Animal Farm. You remember that book by George Orwell? And it's like Boxer, the horse. I will work harder. I will work harder.
Yeah, as they're taking him to the glue
Glue,
factory to use his body, he's going, I will try harder. I will. try."
God bless him. We do that.
Right.
We humans do that, and we can drop it.
And that's why he's saying it's going to take a lot less effort to accept this than to try keep achieving these idols, these ego
Yeah.
idols.
Because they're never satisfied.
And they make you sick.
Yes, right. Sickness is one of them, actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I just ask on sentence 4 there, which was God is not jealous of the gods you make, but you are. Can you explain that? Like we're jealous of the idols that we make?
It means we're protecting them.
Got it. Okay.
We want to make sure nobody tells us that that's not a worthy thing, Yeah.
You know, it's
Is
you know, he's
Is this
referencing,
paragraph,
go ahead, Connie.
paragraph referring to the separation? I mean, that's what it reminds me of, that we think we've separated from God at, you know, and everything is built on that.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. So sentence 6, we're talking about paragraph 8, sentence 6.
Mhm.
You think these gods that we made, are your father. In other words, we think the things we made
Are making us,
are making us.
identifying us.
It's like I have to, you know, I walked through that dust storm and I'm sick. The dust made it. And who did that? But, you know, the politicians or something. It's like somebody else or some substance makes me the way I am. I'm a victim.
See,
Those are the gods that we worship.
and that's what he says is insanity. He said, because you make an idol and you make a world and you forget that you've done that. And now it seems as those are making you.
Yes,
Right. And you've
Mhm.
forgotten you were the first maker of it.
yes,
And that's why there's no order of difficulty in miracles, because I
Right.
can change that.
right.
You know, one of that example has been with my son lately, is I'm worried about him. And the worry is not love. Fear is not love. Worry is not love. And then my solution is, I made up this role of father, and my solution to my fear as a father of my son is be a better father at
Mhm.
that moment, as opposed to I could just offer him love
Right.
at that moment.
Jump out of that self-made role.
Yeah, jump
Yeah.
out of that role.
Yeah.
You know, but then the ego see, the conflict doesn't bother us as long as we think we're winning with it.
Yeah, right. That's right. Okay, so sentence 6, and I think this answers the question better than the partial answer I gave. Sentence 6, you think these circumstances, are your father because you are projecting onto them the fearful fact that you made them to replace God. So it is all about separation.
In separation from love.
Yeah. Okay, I've lost track, as I usually do about this time in the class.
I was last. I read 8.
You were the last one. Thank you for letting me know. That would be Eric on 9, please.
Thought so. Okay, very simply then, you may believe you are afraid of nothingness, but you are really afraid of nothing. I think we touched on that earlier, didn't we? That we think if we allow the self-concept to be pulled apart, and we think there's going to be nothing left. And we're afraid of that because that's what we think we are. But it's saying you're really afraid of nothing. There's nothing to be afraid of because that isn't what you are anyway.
That's right. The concept is nothing.
Yeah. And in that awareness, you are healed. Yeah. You will hear the God you listen to. Wow, that's quite a statement, isn't it? You will hear the God you listen to.
Mm-hmm.
What you're listening to. You made the God of sickness, and by making him, you made yourself able to hear him. So the only reason you can listen to him is because you made him up in the first place.
That's right.
Yeah. Yet you did not create him because he is not the will of the Father. He is therefore not eternal and will be unmade for you the instant you signify your willingness to accept only the eternal. The instant. Wow, that's...
And notice
Yeah.
it's saying willingness instead of achieving it.
Yeah.
Like the instant you're willing to
That's
do
right.
it, then it comes to you.
Good point.
I mean, that's the advantage of always thinking about there's just these two thought systems, because if I let go of one,
Mhm.
the other one will just be there because it's already there.
Right.
you
Yeah.
know?
So I know you guys here on this call don't need to hear this, but maybe others who watch it later might need this comment, that the terms make and create are juxtaposed here in the way that the Course uses them. we make nothingness. We make the material world. We make a fearful world.
We make an image of ourselves.
We make an image, and it's not real. It's not true. Only the eternal is created.
Yeah.
So make and create are, what's made is nothing, is
Yeah.
what he's trying to say here.
Yeah.
And what's created is eternal.
You're just making that up, you know.
Yeah, try saying that to somebody who just got in a car accident
Yeah,
or
right.
something. No, we don't do that.
No, we don't.
But we do it within our own minds if we want to really offer healing.
That's right.
Want to say you are an eternal being. You are beloved of God. You are part of God. What I'm seeing with my eyes is not real. So I have had one LSD trip and I learned this. This is what I learned. I saw, the flesh dripping off my friend's face. And I said, that is not real. I love her. And it disappeared.
That's right.
And it showed me that the senses are making up something. In this case, it was, something ugly, but we make up ugly things all the time.
That's right. Well, I had one, but I'm pretty sure it didn't affect me at all.
Anything else on that paragraph? Paragraph 9?
Just struck me in that last sentence. The instant you signify your willingness, there's got to be a signal that you're willing, hasn't there? It's not just a thought in the mind that just like a random thought, well, I want to be willing to do this.
Yeah.
There's something more to it. It's got to be a real conviction signal somehow.
So maybe just the asking, help me. That would be a signal.
Just the willingness. That's right.
Yeah, if I could add one thing very quickly, there's an author I used to read. I still have all of his books, named Joel Goldsmith, and he was a metaphysical healer.
Beautiful.
One thing, yeah, he was, and he basically he died before the Course was dictated, but basically it was a Course in Miracles. But he talked about healing, and he was not healing the patient; he was healing his perception of
Yes.
what he saw. He had to see God in that particular situation before there was a healing. And he spent 3 days one time sitting with a patient that had asked for healing until he finally was able to see the expression of God in that person. And at that point, the healing happened.
Wow.
So it's kind of, I think, what we're talking about here is how we heal our perception.
Yes.
And not only when we're seeing somebody that's in pain, we heal our perception, and in some way, Holy Spirit is going to heal them, but we may never know, but that's the faith we have by doing that, taking that action.
Yes,
Right on.
absolutely. It's about healing the healer's mind. The healer's mind is what
Yes.
needs to be healed.
Yes.
Yes. And, the person who's asked for healing may not accept it at that point, and
That's
that's not our business.
That's right.
When they accept it.
When they accept it.
But
it's
we
not
have
our-
to have faith that the Holy Spirit actually did heal that part of their mind.
Yep.
But since the mind is free, they have to wait until they're ready for it.
Yeah.
So that's right on.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what we forgot is that God's always working. Like love is always working, no matter what we think.
Right. Laura, would you read 10, please?
Yep. If God has but one Son, there is but one God. You share reality with him because reality is not divided. To accept other gods before him is to place other images before yourself. You do not realize how much you listen to your gods and how vigilant you are on their behalf. Yet they exist only because you honor them. Place honor where it is due, and peace will be yours. It is your inheritance from your real father. You cannot make your father, and the father you made did not make you. Honor is not due to illusions, for to honor them is to honor nothing. Yet fear is not due to them either, for nothing cannot be fearful. You've chosen to fear love because of its perfect harmlessness. And because of this fear, you have been willing to give up your own perfect helpfulness and your own perfect help. A lot in there.
There's a lot.
Yeah. Well, the first point that stands out is just, we're divine as part of God, a thought in the mind of God. So to accept other idols before him is to also, or I'll say it this way. If anytime we put power in something as an idol, we're also putting it before ourselves in terms of being divine.
Yeah.
4 is so true. You do not realize how much you listen to your gods and how vigilant you are on their behalf. It's really subconscious. I mean,
Mhm.
I think it says that in the rules of decisions that you don't even realize all the decisions you're making over and over. So start with the ones that you're aware of, but it's so true. But as soon as I think, we withdraw our honor to them, our belief in them and the power we give them, and put the honor where it's due, which is on true to divinity, then we'll have peace.
Yeah. And then our mind is healed.
Right.
Yeah.
For an instant, at least, right?
Yeah. But when the door is open, you know that other room is there.
That's
Right.
right.
Yeah. Anyone else have comments on this paragraph?
This was a big change for me when I did the course, because my parents named me Timothy because it means honoring God, or it means honoring the Lord just too, but honoring God. And when I read the course, it's saying honor is creation. That's what we need to do, because we can't honor God and not honor his creation.
Sure.
And he's saying if you dishonor his creation, you're dishonoring God.
And if we dishonor ourselves and creation when we put these idols up.
Right.
When we think anything has power except God.
Right.
God in us, God in the other person.
Right. And when we honor our sick minds as being the truth,
Yeah.
we're dishonoring love.
Right.
We're dishonoring God.
Right. Anything else on this paragraph? Well, then let's go on to the last one.
The only thing I would say is in sentence 6, he mentions peace again as this. That's the outcome. The conflict's done now. I'm at peace.
And if we're at peace, then we're not being attacked by sickness.
That's right.
Or attacking by believing in somebody else's sickness or a situation. I mean, you can apply this to global things too. I mean, this applies to everything.
Yeah.
If we recognize that as a human race, we're divine, and that's the only thing that's real, we'll stop being afraid of changes, earth changes.
Yeah,
as an example.
That's what he said back in paragraph 2, sentence 2. Remember that it does not matter where in the sonship he's accepted. He's always accepted for all. And when your mind receives the remembrance of him, it awakens throughout the sonship. I mean, that's that idea that when we choose the atonement, all the power of the sonship, all the power of creation joins us at that moment.
Right.
Because it is for everyone.
Right.
It's not just for this particular place.
You know what I think this is like, this section? This is like those optical illusions where at first you see one thing, and then if you shift your inner perception, you see something else, like, the young woman and the old lady, or the duck and the rabbit. Everybody's seen these things, the two vases or the profiles. It's like you can only see one of them at a time.
Right.
You can go back and forth. And this is asking us to see the divinity that's here and not the sickness.
And that's that lesson. It's impossible to see two worlds.
That's right.
If you're in the ego, then God's gone. If you're in God, the ego's gone.
Yep.
Just one more thing on sentence 11. So you have chosen to fear love because of its perfect harmlessness. Is that because we believe in the value of attack and we feel vulnerable? Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
We believe in winning the conflict.
Yeah, winning. triumph.
Yeah.
Me better. Okay, Dale, would you,
He just read.
oh, Dale just read? Yes, he did. Okay. Connie, 11, please.
Didn't she just read?
Well, who just read?
Didn't I?
Laura,
I thought Laura did, then
I
then
don't
it's
know.
Dale's turn.
Sorry.
Not that it matters, really.
Let's see, only at the altar of God will you find peace. And this altar is in you because God put it there. I don't know how many times we have to be told that, me, how many times I have to hear that, but it's such an overwhelming thought, or at least for me, to come to the realization that that really is who I am. And as I look at all you, it's easier for me to see that in you than it is to see it in me.
Yeah.
I don't know why that is, but it is. His voice still calls you to return, and he will be heard when you place no other gods before him. You can give up the god of sickness for your brothers. In fact, you would have to do so if you give him up for yourself. For if you see the god of sickness anywhere, you have accepted him. And if you accept him, you will bow down and worship him because he was made as God's replacement. He is the belief that you can choose which God is real. Although it is clear this has nothing to do with reality, it's equally clear that it has everything to do with reality as you perceive it. Man, there's a lot there. It's one of those things to me that is hard, but it's really not. It's very simple. But the hard part for me has been accepting that it's true. Once I've begun to accept that it's true, I've noticed that my perception changes. And the barometer for when my perception changes is how do I feel? You know, if I feel at peace, then I've done my job in that moment.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
You know, 11:4, it just hit me all over again of why is it so important that I'm concerned with the healing of others? Because the sonship is one. So he's saying, if you give up the god of sickness for your brothers, in fact, you would have to do so if you give them up for yourself. So if I've accepted the atonement for myself, of course, I'm going to be able to share it with others because we are one with
It's
others.
almost by definition.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in contrast, sentence 5, if you see the god of sickness anywhere, you have accepted him.
Yeah.
Well, you know, this is a constant process for me in denying the reality of certain sick situations. And sometimes I am called upon to make a response,
Yeah.
but I can't do it from the belief that that thing is real and could really hurt anybody.
Right. Or from obligation and roles.
Yeah.
Again, like that's my duty,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is
Because any other thoughts on anything we've read today? I'm really glad we got to do this section as a whole.
yeah.
And I'm grateful for your patience in going over the first part again, but it really did pull it all together in a to me, a powerful way.
You know, that's part of what we're doing is exhibiting how to read and that, and part of that is seeing the continuity in a section. Like how he's developing ideas through the whole section.
Yeah, like the idea of power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or how he's developing even the ideas in one paragraph and seeing the oneness in that and the continuity between the ideas.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, so do you have any thoughts? Any last thoughts on this? Okay. Well then, thank you very much.